when you start putting yourself in an environment where you've got other peers around you that are bigger, better, faster, stronger, doing more than you are currently doing, it's the thing that causes you to desire to level up.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's
right.
a lot of our relationship. There's a lot of pushing and prodding certain areas that you're like
with each other, and it's unintentional.
That's a challenge. Finding people that
are worth emulating.
Yeah, that are worth emulating are big. I think starting off for me, when it comes to emulating, like I think of my dad, and it's not like all of my dad.
Right.
What I saw, what I had the privilege of seeing my dad was emulating his patience, because my mom was tough. She's a Filipino lady that maybe there's tradition and cultural differences.
Yeah.
My dad was patient through it. Watched him.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think some of it too, like, we talked about this in another podcast about like, there's this matriarchal culture when it comes to Filipinos. And my dad was like, no, but he did it in a way where my mom still felt like it, but but she knew at the end of the day, her husband was going to was going to love her through it and be patient. But I've also seen my dad put his foot down, and all of that was built on the foundation of, I think I do it myself. Like I try to emulate my dad's patience.
And I wonder, like, the conversations, like last podcast we were talking about, that gal at your school. Like, I wonder if she just needs to, like, we're talking about emulate and imitation. Like, does she just literally need to not have her way? Like, okay, do it this way.
Sure.
And don't deviate from it until you find the thing that is actually yours.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's just an interesting thought I just had.
I mean, and that's
would that work
good though?
Maybe
yeah, it's hard to do that because you're teaching. Like, kids are going to be there every day. You know what I mean? And so if, like, what are we have a yes teacher?
Oh,
you know what? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
how
do you implement that without taking, because the kids are going to sniff that out.
Yeah, that's true. Because then it doesn't have like an authority behind it, right? Because the same way, like when you do your AB in the classroom thing, she could probably go up and say the exact same words and probably do her best Ray impersonation, but because she does not have the authority behind it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the old like fake it till you make it, and it doesn't work as well as people think.
It gets you started. Do it anyways. It's kind of that do it anyways mentality.
Yeah.
But until you like settle in and
you have to own it. It has to become your own.
Yeah.
It has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to own it.
Yeah. And you're right. And I think that there's a lot more nuance to that than, so like Peyton, he's 12. He's starting to learn, like, we listen to a lot of comedy together.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to go snowboarding, whatever. And so he can hear something and it's really funny. But right, your delivery is everything though. so it's so funny. Like he's trying out different things, and like he'll say something funny that sometimes like his timing is perfect, right? And it's really funny. And sometimes it's just like, dude, that just came across really mean. You know what I mean? Like you came across like a jerk, and that's not who he is at all, right? He's very kind. He's a very kind kid. I was like, okay. And then I have to watch this for myself, because there's things that I can say and he'll basically like imitate, right? Or emulate. Like, he can say the exact same thing to his friends, but it does not come across the same way, right?
Right.
And so we had a great conversation just last night about this, because it's a situation that happened. And I said, honestly, buddy, I said, I know me. And I used to be really cutting, like, because I'm pretty quick-witted and pretty quiet. So when something brilliant came to my mind, I usually say it. And it usually was just like, man, it got a lot of laughs, but I could tell like it cut deep, like the person I was fun of or whatever.
Yeah.
Sarcasm or whatever it was. So I said, so I really had to tone that down. Like I really had to like dial that way back. And it's not until I have, I can do like little things. I said that I test relationships. I said, there's some people that like, we can get into it and we can really have fun. And it's both ways. I said, but that is the relationship that we built over time. Right. And so anyway, so I don't know if he got it or not, but yeah, there's definitely that's a good point. Like if it doesn't come from inside you,
Mm-hmm.
so then I guess what is the line? Because we were
Mm.
talking about, like there's some mentors that I had that I tried to emulate and imitate, and maybe there was some good things that came from that, because at least it got me going, right? At
Yeah.
least it got me started.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on, there's things that I've picked up from some people,
Yeah.
right? But not all of it, like you said. Now I've dropped some things,
Mm.
and I've picked up other things from other people. Yeah. So I guess, well, yeah. Is there a balance there, or is it just like
Mm.
a continuum?
I
You're
mean,
learning.
honestly, man, like, um, I think it's like what Ecclesiastes or something like that. Like, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
Like, um, there's no, we don't have to like reinvent the wheel. We just have to figure out how to make it our own. And it'll still feel like every time I try to emulate someone, there'll still be like a residue because
Mm,
I enjoyed it so much.
yeah.
Right. Like for the longest time, there was a mentor of ours, right?
Yeah.
Brad, like just the way he made people feel around,
Yeah.
like, man, I just, like, you felt like $1,000,000. You felt
Yeah.
like you were like the only dude in the room, like,
Yeah.
and you and I are like best buds.
Yeah.
Right. I love having that kind of feeling. Like, and there's one time where he was kind of trying to teach, like, it's hard to teach that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to learn. You have to like
A lot of
learn with your
reps. Yeah.
right. You have to learn with you have to see it modeled.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
there's personality traits where sometimes you have to see it modeled
Yeah.
in front of you. And I think that's where you're trying to get at with the teacher that
Yeah.
struggling with at school, right? And uh and like the issue with that is that, we don't need another Ray. Like,
No.
we need you. We need you to be, we need you and
Yeah.
your personality to do this. But there's principles there that you need to like stick to.
Yes.
Right. So if you stick to that, like,
Yeah.
things will be a little bit better. But yeah, like I was saying, like there's just like this residual thing that just stays with you because like there's someone you've emulated so much and you've enjoyed, even like another mentor like Dean, like that was
Mhm.
another one too. I love the way he taught and illustrated things to connect
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm trying to get better at that because I learned so much from how he did it. I
Yeah.
want to emulate that because at some point there's gonna be someone who thinks the way I do in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. There's kind of a mixture of those two mentors
Mm.
in that, along
Yeah.
with my dad's patience, along with my my college coach. Now, there's things that you don't want to emulate,
That's
right?
actually where my brain was going too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I said, I go back to the whole, like, it's kind of like a buffet. Like you kind of take what you want and you put it on your plate.
Yeah.
And then like if I don't want to eat carrots, I kind of throw it in the trash.
And it's the same, because the whole podcast is based on the choice, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's a big thing that was kind of ingrained in us, right?
Mhm.
It was the, like, be careful who you hang out with.
Yeah.
And we know this growing up, right? Or my parents, there's several times when I'm like, I'm like an 8-year-old kid, and my mom, like, you hate my friends. I was like, no, I just don't think they're good influence, right? And kind of the same way, like the intentionality of who are you hanging out with, because who you hang out with, you become more like,
Mhm.
even accidentally. So like, Erwin McManus, who's a mentor of mine. It's funny, the more that I listen to him and watch him talk and things like that, as I'm looking at the previous podcast episodes, I'm like, holy cow, like some of my mannerisms are starting to like pick up Erwin, right? And it's just, right, it happens. So in the same way, if you're just, again, living in default mode and your best friends are just the people that you happen to be coworkers with, and that wasn't intentional, it's like, man, okay, well, what things are you picking up that might not be worth emulating? Even my son, or somebody that was basically wanted to, like, well, let me tell you about money, and like started to like teach him about money. And I was overhearing it, but I didn't hear what it said. So I had to come back around with that conversation. I was like, okay, like your attitude and your philosophy around money, it will radically change the way that you live and perceive life, in my opinion. So So I needed to ask, like, okay, what was their opinion on it, and what, what things? And so then gave him, my philosophies around money, and you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
being intentional with that. And somebody challenged me, must have been a couple months ago, and they said, finding peers that you have.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing, like if you're the big dog, right, or you're the big fish in the little pond, it's easy to think that you've arrived. But when you start putting yourself in an environment where you've got other peers around you that are bigger, better, faster, stronger, doing more than you are currently doing, it then is it's kind of the thing we were talking about before. It's the thing that causes you to desire to level up. Because if you're hanging out with people that aren't doing anything, then anybody doing anything seems like amazing.
Right.
But if all of a sudden you start hanging out with people that are doing amazing things, and you're like, okay, wow, okay, I can step it up, right? I can step my game up.
Yeah. And something about like when you are hanging out, like there's a like they push you, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
Right.
a lot of our relationship. There's a lot of pushing
Yeah.
and prodding certain areas that you're like
with each other, and it's
with each other.
unintentional.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think I I certainly know that that's a big thing when it comes to like who I'm going to emulate is that piece. There's an extra layer where like are they actually throwing me into the fire, and like are we getting hot? Are we getting hot together?
Yeah.
We're going to do this, right? So I yeah, that's like one of the things too where like you're trying to emulate something. You're trying to emulate, and I think I use this a lot, especially when I feel stuck on stuff.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
if I feel stuck, and I feel like I just haven't leveled up or anything like that,
Okay.
or I'm spinning my wheels, right? Like I feel that there's sometimes where or I'll listen to a podcast, like I listened to PBD podcast the other day, and like I love the way he interviews people.
Yeah.
Right. There's a good, like, it's all like he's almost like tracking with them and pulling out the next good thought, and then but while also having a conversation with it and putting himself in the situation. Like I just like I can listen to that all day.
Yeah.
Right. So now there's almost that piece where like what can I put on my plate on this buffet? And like the buffet is huge.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe maybe how maybe that's a question I want to ask you is like when you find someone that you think you've mentioned a couple like Shard, like when you find someone you want to kind of emulate and take on like some of the things that they're doing, like how do you choose? How do you, because there's
good question, man.
There's a lot of choices.
Yeah. And there's billions now, and there's tons of people that the influencer culture thing, which is, to be honest, was kind of a deterrent for even doing the podcast. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy, and the same way, it's like, man, I there's so many things that I don't know that I don't want anybody to perceive or think that I'm an expert and actually have to figure it out. Because I don't, at the end of the day, we're just a couple dads trying to figure life out. I mean? Like when everything goes away, careers, businesses, whatever, right? I hope that, at the end of my life, that my wife respects me and my kids respect me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the important thing. So that aside, I think that's kind of the big one that I look for, honestly, is because there's a lot of people that like so I do this thing, I call it fresh goals. So the areas of life, so financial, recreational, educational, social, and health. So those are the kind of the 5 arenas of life that I look at when I'm creating goals for personal or when I'm helping teach people. So financial goals, there's people out there that make a lot more money than me, for sure. And so, but how are they doing that? Because that's a big one.
Yeah.
For me, which is, I like Patrick Bet-David as well. Because I've listened to him for a long time. So he's somebody that's like, okay, I can get behind it because of the dad and the husband that he wants to be, right? And he's striving to be.
Yeah. I
Right?
heard that a lot.
Yeah.
On the one I heard yesterday.
Yeah. John Maxwell, Brendan Deschard. So there's Erwin McManus. I get to you get to know those people a little bit better over time, and then you're like, okay, they're the real deal. And it's not just because they say they're the real deal, right? It's because other people around them, have said that they're the real deal,
Right.
So, so that's the big one for me. It's like, okay, do they have the life that I want? And again, not just because I think when people say that, for me anyway, when I was first hearing that, I was like, oh, it's about the finance. Like, no, it's not about finance. Like, yeah, sure. There's people that have jets and great things, and they're terrible people. And they're likely going to end up very alone in life because of the way that they treat people. So I don't want to emulate that. Right. So I don't know, that's the big one for me. So then then I also look at like what are the arenas, if you will, that I want to level up and I want to continually get better, right? I want to find mentors in my life that are dads. There's one guy in Oregon, his name's Sam, and he's got a wild schedule. So we're still trying to figure out a time to go get coffee, but he's got 9 kids and he's a pastor. He also has a company that's worth several $1,000,000, and all of his kids like him. And they're not 3, right?
Yeah.
And he's got 2 of his sons, 3 of his sons. So 2 sons are missionaries. One's in India, one's in South Africa. Another son is a pastor of a church in Portland. And then he's got 3 other sons that work with him in his company. Son-in-law that works with, like, an amazing family. Amazing. Okay, now, do I want to emulate everything he's done? No, probably not. But I was like, okay, how did you do that though? Like, that's the question. Like, I keep saying, hey, Sam, when are we going to get together and go get coffee? Because I'm like, or taking to lunch. Like, okay, Sam, how did you do that? Like, how did you create the culture within your family that your kids really like to be around you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even in ministry, because that's even a harder one, right? Because I was a pastor's kid. Most pastor's kids don't turn out great, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
So the fact that your entire family is not only like doing business with you, but they're even the kids that are in, like, they go to church and they do ministry together, and they're in their like 20s and they have kids of their own, like, is so foreign, honestly, to me. And so I'm just fascinated by the guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
So again, I'm not going to like emulate or imitate. I'm like, man, what are the nuggets that you have for me? Like, what can I grab and glean from you to, incorporate into me? It's going to help me level up.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that when you find someone that you like to emulate, they have some fruit on the tree.
Oh, for sure.
Right. And
Yeah.
you want to grab it.
Yeah.
Right? And kind of check it out. Yeah. That's a good way to kind of choose some of the people that you want to, you do want to choose to emulate.
And there's some things, this is, I guess, kind of a different way to look at it, is when it was about a year ago, I was like, okay, should I re-engage back in social media, and what should that look like? And got a friend who I consider a peer. He's in Nashville. He's got a huge following in social media. It'd be fun to interview him for the podcast. He's a fascinating guy. So he just gave me some pointers and things like that. He's like, well, it's a lot of work. It's like a full-time job. And so as we're having this conversation, and I did it, I was like, 2 months. And then, and we check in about every month. Like he and I just the same way, like a peer, like really cool relationship we have. And, and it was like 4 months in, and I looked and I was like, David, I'm like, that sucked. Yeah, I don't like that at all. And he laughed. He was like, yeah. He said, it's not for everybody. And so I was telling him, I said, here's the things that I'm finding and I'm learning. He's like, dude, that sounds like it's perfect for you. So you'd think, like, great guy to emulate. Like, he really is a really good guy. And in that arena where I'm like, okay, social media presence, like, okay, I can like emulate you, I can copy it. But then in doing so, and I did a decent job, I thought, but in doing so, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That makes sense? And so, but I guess it's part of the, like, do it anyway, right? Like, just do it anyway.
Right.
And then you're going to learn. It's honestly the same as the podcast. Like, we're going to do it. We're going to figure it out. And if 6 months down the road, we're like, nah, great, we can be done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So how about you? So who are the key people that are in your life right now that you're like, okay, I want to emulate this person in this arena?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Well, there's a couple of things like spiritually. There's a guy from Singapore. his name is Joseph Prince.
Oh, yeah.
He, the way he explain, teaches gospel, and then he's like a true teacher
Yeah.
of like what's going on. And I like the way, like, even though there's a little bit of a like language, like he actually does a great job, even
Yeah.
though you can tell
Good accent.
he's got an accent to it. But but to me, a great someone who can communicate and teach something like the gospel, if they can do it even with those barriers, to me, I feel like, okay, like, yeah, we can do, like, like, I can look at the scriptures this way.
Mm-hmm.
I can have that perspective, and I can put it on, and I go, oh, um, that, that's what the Bible's all about, is it's pointing you to, it's pointing you to Jesus. Like, I love that. So now, so when I'm emulating like how he does, it's not necessarily maybe some of his stage presence. I like his stage presence a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause he's got great jokes, and he'll like throw in
pretty
some,
confident, like a quiet confidence he did.
quiet confidence. Yeah. And how he would, my favorite are some of the stories where he would talk about like Peter.
Mhm.
Like Peter was this cocky guy that, like he wanted to lead, but he wasn't ready to step into it. And who would put him in his place? God.
Yeah.
Right. And, but like before that, I never like latched on to that story as much as like when you listen to someone teach it that way. Right.
Right.
And man, and I've understood the perspective of grace so much because of like just watching how he and maybe it's not even just how he models and what he's doing. Maybe it's just how he teaches.
Yeah.
Right. And how he connects things well. And that's another one where I talked about like Dean and how he connects like business sense, and how one of my favorite ways that he put things together was like, I'm the buyer and you're the seller. You sell to me why I should help you.
Yeah.
I picked up on that so much.
Yeah.
And that's still on my plate.
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably how the presence that you have in the classroom too, right? When you do the AB thing that you're trying to, because
I'm the teacher.
Yeah.
You're the student.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm driving this car. You're the passenger. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and so when you pick up those things from, right, I just explained like spiritual, there's, I don't know if there's like category, if that's how you want to explain it, like categories of how I, like who I pick things from. But even Irwin's a, boy, that dude is like intellectually, and
Another
he's
level.
also another one that he can bring in, like modern ways of how modern culture, and link it to how, maybe a perspective, how they see like a biblical principle or a story, and how he links it to like modern day way of thinking. I love that, man. Those are like, those are things that help me to cause. And who also did that? Christ. Like that was a lot of the, what do you call it? The ways he would explain things, right? His his parables. There it is. Like I like that.
Yeah.
I like the way, if your teaching is very parable like, I grasp that so much. I'm a visual guy. Like I have to touch, I have to feel, I have to see.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like being around you too, is because you have a lot of strength, and you see, like, sometimes you can put together what, like I'll just say something like that. Like, man, we should do a podcast. In my head, I'm just throwing that out there. You put it all together, right? You've done that a lot. Cause I'm kind of like that sometimes. Like things will come into my head. I'm like, what do you think about this? And then for some reason you like latch onto that and you go, well, let me like dissect that real quick. And I go, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna start using that. I'm a parable thinker. I'm a parable learner.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I feel that a lot of times too, like we don't fight for our principles sometimes. Like I
Yeah. We haven't better.
that's my like faith is big for me, man. That's
Hmm.
like a um and I don't say that in this like holier than, Nacho Libre, praise the Lord type of way, but like I'm like literally like I try to have that perspective in everything that I do, right? Whether it's picking out who I want to emulate
Hmm.
or it's do it now and what's the reason for,
Yeah.
doing it now. Well, it's all under the lens of my faith because
Yeah.
that would be my pinnacle of the values that I have, right? So um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, it was good. 'Cause we were talking about emulating and how you pick up things from other
Yeah,
people and how you're learning. So I guess in that vein, can you learn stuff from people that don't have same values then?
may, um, like maybe, but I don't know if it'll stick.
Hmm.
It might be those carrots that I throw in the trash,
Yeah. Sure.
right? Because you don't know that
Yeah.
until you are around someone and you're familiar with someone so much that you know. And I would say this too, like we just got to be careful too, man. Like I don't live to please man. I live to please God. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And if I have that perspective, you know, no man is perfect. And I learned this, I was about to say the hard way, but like I learned this the life giving way,
Mm.
June 6th, 2011.
Yeah.
No, there's no man that can do what you do. You know what I mean? So yeah, kind of putting all that together and
Yeah. Not that's good. I think I guess the other aspect too is because of that, right? Because nobody's perfect.
Mhm.
And you know that. And even, in my experience, I've had three different pastors that decide to step out on their family and, fail morally and all different stuff.
Yeah.
And uh, so the first time that happened, it was kind of this, cause the guy, he was very like a really close mentor of mine.
Mm.
And, man, learned a lot of really cool things from this guy. So then it kind of had this crisis of belief, if you will, where it's just like, okay, well, is everything that he taught me or said
Mm.
false?
Mm.
Is there anything trustworthy
Mm.
in that? And realizing like, yeah, no, there was a lot, a lot that I learned and a lot that was good and a lot that was trustworthy.
Yeah.
But there, by the grace of God, go I, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like everybody's capable of failing,
Oh, for sure.
and failing hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but you're right. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but the values, right? The underlying piece, which is why I say, I'm like, if somebody made a bunch of money, but they don't have, the family, or they did it at the expense of other people, it's like, okay, I don't really want to learn from you
Yeah.
because,
It's not the financial like emulation that I want.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like there's other ways to do it,
Right.
But and I guess simply too, like there's sometimes where even, people that I like or whatever, and I was doing this course and it was driving me nuts because the guy that was facilitating it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, just like get to it. But then at the same time, I kept thinking, do I do that to people? Like, do I, like, man, am I just that checked out that I'm not like reading the room
Mm.
and seeing that people are just dying around me? Like people don't care anymore. Stop talking. I'm sure I do. So I can work on that. But yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Some self-reflection there, huh?
yeah,
Maybe that's what you can get from people that um maybe it's more that not that I want to emulate you, it's that I want to stay away from.
yeah.
What's
You're not going to do that. Yeah.
This is not coming on my plate, like
Yeah.
period, right? And
Yeah.
if I come across something like this, it's
Yeah.
I'm walking past the
But I think honestly, the thing I think about all the time though is how often, like we're having this conversation
Mhm.
and we're acutely aware of that.
Mhm.
At least I feel like I am. Like if I'm around somebody, it's
Mhm.
like, man, maybe it's a season and it's good for me to be around this person. And then sometimes it's like, man, this is not helping me,
Yeah.
and not like you discard people, not at all. But it is a like, okay, we are just like, as you level up in life, there's people now that's like, man, they want to hang out. It's like, man, it's not that I don't love you.
Mhm.
It's that if I do that, I have to intentionally take time, energy, and things away from other people.
Mm.
Most importantly, my family. I've got to take time away from my family to be with you. And again, it's not that I don't love you, but it's like, brother, you're not leveling up. I want you to,
Mm.
but you're not. And it, again, like when I was young, it seemed like a very selfish or whatever. Nobody has that type of bandwidth. Oh,
Mhm.
can't be with everybody at all times. So don't know where I was going with that, but I think maybe that was it. It's just the awareness. Like I think people are not aware of who they're emulating because again, it's the default, right? It's the choice.
Yep.
It's the, okay, I'm I'm not taking intentional action.
Mhm.
So the accidental outcome that I have is that I am literally a clone of these people around me.
Sure.
And that's a frightening thing,
Mm.
I would imagine. I mean, because I think if people like realize that, because again, we became hyper aware of that. Like you walk into a new job or whatever, and you realize, okay, this person's been doing this job for the next, and so if I follow that track, that is who I'm going to become.
Mhm.
And not even just like, terms of, socially or whatever, but it's like, but if I'm around that environment, which is going back to a different podcast when we were talking about right people, right seat,
Mhm.
and why that culture is so important is because, man, if you have a toxic culture and you bring somebody good into that toxic culture, the chances of them like elevating it is low, right? They're either going to bail or they're just going to get sucked into that toxic culture.
Right.
Until you have a change agent, right? Somebody that is actually being intentional to come in and say, enough is enough, right? Whether it's in a classroom or in a company,
Yeah.
right? No, we're not doing that.
Mhm.
Like the adult is here. This is how we're going to do it.
Mhm.
And if you have a bad attitude in a company, you can leave. Unfortunately, you can't do that in a classroom, right?
You can in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's like, here's the standard. And so raise the standard for yourself. But again, going to the awareness, the choice of, okay, who am I going to intentionally put myself around? Who am I intentionally going to emulate? Like,
Mhm.
who do I intentionally want to become more like?
yeah.
And yeah,
But so what would you say for, someone that it's a challenge for them, like, to like to find to find those people to emulate, like in real life, like personally, because like we can certainly read books and listen to podcasts, but
yeah,
like how about the ones that are finding it a challenge to like be in, right? Like
yeah,
the hot poker, right?
yeah,
Like there's a couple pokers in the fire,
Yeah.
and we're all kind of getting lit up,
yeah.
right? So what is that like? What do you tell someone that struggles with that? And I'm asking for a friend.
It's so funny because I actually went on I had the same question several months ago when somebody asked me about like peers in my life.
Yeah.
And I guess fortunately for me, I already had friends like you.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, okay. Like I need to be more intentional about that relationship
Mhm.
than other relationships potentially. But then also it was this, okay, who are those peers? Like, cause peer is different. Like there's a lot of people that I lead,
Mhm.
right? There's a lot of people that I report to, if you will, right? But who are the peers that are doing the same thing or trying to become the same, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Because my cousins are amazing. I mean, they built some great companies. And so we're peers in some areas, but I'm stepping out and doing something that is completely foreign to anything that they've ever done.
Mhm.
Right. And the like leadership consulting, coaching, even like podcasting, like whatever this space is, whatever you call this thing.
Yeah.
They haven't done that. And so it's like, okay, I need a peer in that arena as well. Right. And so I had to be intentional and reach out to some people and just say, hey, can I get to know you?
Yeah.
And that seems, I don't know, it is scary sometimes because you're just like, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you perceive that the person is up here.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, are they willing to take their time, resources, energy and invest in me?
What is that? Like, are you talking about like starstruck type of feel, or like what? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I think when you're younger, you get that a lot. You're like, oh my gosh, that's Mr. Sebastian. He's amazing, and he is, right? But as you get older, you realize, like, man, people are people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the shine wears off a little bit. And it's not that I can't like celebrate the accomplishment, things like that. But the people that I have come to find, that the people that are actually great, if you will, like, they don't think they are. Right?
Sure.
But it's the people that are like, no, I am too cool for you, and all these things. Like, okay, well, I don't want to emulate that anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But no, it's been it's been cool to like reconnect those dots for me.
Yeah.
And some were new relationships that I had to form, and some were, like, I was part of that mastermind group with Erwin for a while, and there was a few people in there that I would consider were peers, and I hung out with a lot of people, did one-on-one Zoom calls and stuff like that, but yeah, I found a couple that I was like, okay, yeah, we're peers, and we push each other, and like David was telling about, I mean, probably, I don't know, every 6 weeks or so, and just for like each other, just to like jump on and be like, how's it going? What are you learning? What are you doing? What's changing? And encourage each other.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron. So
yeah. No, no, I certainly find that kind of those things in my relationship with you, right?
Yeah.
Like, right. But also at the same time, like I remember when we were doing like business together, right? Or like doing like being on purpose together. Like, I remember when you moved to Seattle, and I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, there is a sense of like, because now like, it's not necessarily that I lost the connection. It was more like the day to day.
Yeah.
Like, we can talk all we want, but when you're sitting across from someone, right, and you like you see all the nonverbal things that's going on, you know what I mean? Like, you miss that part, and and sometimes like things can get lost in translation because we missed that part, right?
Yeah.
So like it's just some of those things when we're talking about, and I remember you inviting me and saying, hey man, I'm going to the mastermind, and like, you should go. And I was like,
you're like,
oh man.
Yeah.
That was certainly the time I said I didn't do it anyway.
No, you didn't. Good news, you still can. But and I am actually, so I just because of my schedule and things, I haven't really been part of that mastermind since about January this year. Same thing, like, it was a season, and it was a good season. I'm really glad. I'm still planning on going to their conference in October, but again, I think it's the intentionality thing.
Yeah, being intentional.
Yeah. And I don't know where that is in Helena. And I don't know where that is in Philomath, this tiny little town I live in Oregon. So I had to go find it.
Yeah.
Right. And you're right. Like the online Zoom meeting, I'm personally zoomed out. Like, I don't like Zoom. It is convenient, right?
Right.
And so I understand I have to do it. But there's obviously power in like actual like physical connection and being with people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So even as this podcast progresses and we're going to do, some over Zoom, right? I think it's because we have the relationship that I think it's going to work. It's, but it's because it's also like, there's also the connection points where we're going to be able to work. It's not like I don't know where you live. Right.
Right.
So there's always going to be those connection points. But yeah, it's a good question. Like, I haven't found it in Oregon.
Yeah.
For me. Like an actual like group of people that are peers.
Yeah.
Moving forward doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
and I think some of that too, I go back to what you just said. Like, there's you have to be intentional about building those connections and those relationships with people. And also, right, going back to our last podcast, just doing it now, like saying no to, I just want to stay home and like do my thing.
Yeah.
And not be purposeful and connect.
Yeah.
Well, not like do nothing at home, but like doing the connecting part.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're out there.
Yeah.
Right. We just got to go find them.
Yeah.
Right. And that takes it takes energy. It takes work to do that. And I'm trying to think for myself, right? I'm a school counselor. Like, how do I progress? I guess that's something I got to think of. Like,
Hmm.
how am I going to be intentional about finding other school counselors that have been doing this longer than I have? What can I take from them, and how can I also give to them as well too? Right? Like, because I think
And they have the
relationships are
same,
like,
yeah, and they have the same ethos too, right?
yeah.
Because I'm sure there's lots of counselors who've been doing it longer than you that you're like, I don't agree with.
Oh, yeah. Just showing up and like, okay, we're just
Yeah,
gonna do the, we're just gonna, be
yeah,
here. Yeah. Yeah. So again, that'll be tough. I went to a teachers conference, the beginning of June, and it was, I think it was right after I had to do my talk.
oh yeah, that was one
Yeah.
in Bozeman, yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah.
one in Bozeman. And, um, I don't know. I think there's something about like the state of being a teacher these days where there's a lot of teachers um that are like going through the motions, I think.
Mm,
Especially if they've been in it for a while and they've
yeah,
seen these conferences and it's like, similar stuff.
yeah,
Um yeah, there's only so much you can learn about, data and like, the behaviors and how you can teach a certain way. And
yeah.
uh but there's one guy there that, as far as like his teaching style, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And he really, and why was it good? Because he taught about relationships.
Ah, yeah,
Shocker, shocker. Why I'm like, oh, this is good. Like,
yeah.
and you know, I didn't put the effort to like connect a little bit more.
Mm,
Because I think some of it was just that environment, man. Like,
yeah,
you just really felt like people were there just to show up,
yeah.
right? And uh, yeah.
Here's a interesting question,
Mhm.
just like popped into my brain. Because I think of like environments that like are inspirational.
Mhm.
The classroom is not one of them that I think of usually. Um, like what is the purpose of education?
Mm,
Like if you really boil it, like what is the purpose of
mm.
education? Some of it is like transference of facts, I imagine, knowledge.
I think there's people that see that perspective. Yeah.
Okay. But what else? Like,
Well, you want to know what I tell
yeah.
kids? I tell kids that it's not about like the learning, it's learning how to learn,
Mm,
especially in the middle school years,
yeah.
right? It's learning how to like sit down and shut up,
Right.
like the little things that'll propel you forward. Well, because what does that do? What, like, you're working on your focus,
Yeah.
right, and being intentional about what you're doing, and B, you're um you're practicing respect.
Yeah.
Because when the teacher's talking, you're giving that person your attention, right? And why do you do that? Because someone stayed up all night to put a lesson plan together,
Yeah.
right? And they have something exciting to teach you.
Yeah.
Um, and you can learn something from it, right?
Yeah.
So, like those, it's not like, John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in the fort. We all know that. We do now,
Thank you,
right? Like,
teachers. Yeah.
we know, right? But
Yeah.
um, but like it's the principles behind it, right?
Yeah.
What am I learning? How am I learning to learn?
Yeah.
Right. And um and the proper dynamic of authority
Yeah.
and that's such a buzzword now too, authority, and like we want to say assertiveness, but no, I like authority.
Yeah.
Right. It's biblical. That's a biblical thing.
Got me thinking because, like, you're one of the podcasts, and you were talking about uh, the coach. One family, one purpose. Right? Was that the mantra?
Yep.
Like,
One family,
yeah.
one purpose.
And then you're saying that the
Shout out Mira Mesa.
yeah,
Or otters.
That's awesome. We're gonna get one like from that, I'm sure. We'll just tag them. But the thought is that if right, the purpose of playing football for that coach
Mhm.
wasn't to win. That was an outcome,
Yes.
but that wasn't the purpose.
Yeah.
And I think in the same way, the purpose of teaching isn't necessarily that you pass,
Mhm.
right? That's the win.
Mhm.
It's the becoming,
Yeah.
right? It's like who you're becoming in the process, which is the same stuff we've talked about with probably the detriment of AI, right?
Yeah.
It's we're not having to become. Like we're not having to struggle. We're not having to go through the hard thing. We're not having to go through it because, right, it's the becoming, and which is why I love the habitudes stuff you're doing at school, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the purpose, right? The purpose is like, okay, are you going to be a healthy, functioning member of not just society, but somebody that can actually go out and do some great things in the world?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if it's about like, here's the number of butts that need to be in seats, and here's how we're failing kids, and I mean, like that could be that of okay. So if it's uninspiring going to the teachers conference, how in the world is that transference? Because that's the biggest thing that I see in like leadership and like setting the tone and culture.
Mhm.
This gal I was on a phone call with today, and she was saying basically that. She said, I can't tell you how many times we've had consultants or people come in and they're talking about culture, but then when the leadership doesn't care, or the leadership is disengaged, or the leadership is like, okay, yeah, this is good for the team, but I'm kind of aloof or whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, it falls flat. I said 1,000%, because everything, right, Maxwell, everything rises and falls on leadership.
Mhm.
I believe that. And so if the leadership isn't bought in, right, culture, because when I teach companies about the CEO, like the role of the CEO is keeper of culture and keeper of vision and big relationships,
Mhm.
and then mentor, coach, lead. But it's like, hey, you're the keeper of the culture. What is the culture that you're wanting to create?
Mm.
And so in the same way, I could see why the education is uninspiring to students, because the teachers are uninspired as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that falls
Mm.
necessarily. Obviously, I mean, I'm not, we're not going to get political, Department of Education, U.S. versus like give it to the states, or like, but somebody
Right.
somewhere needs to be that fuel to like engage and inspire again. And I don't know where that is, but I would guess like it's probably not the teachers conference you were at, because if you left and you're like, dear Lord, like I got to go through another day of this, right?
Oh yeah, I skipped the last 3 days.
Okay. Guilty. I appreciate that feedback. But
The only time I was excited to go was the guy that I went to, because I've actually I've taken one of his classes before.
yeah, nice.
I know the content. I know what he's going to do. It's just I just like the way he you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like I'll be honest, man. When I heard that I got signed up for it, it's like, oh, what?
So you had to go?
Yeah, man. I was like, oh, it's and now I have to I had to check myself, right? And that was a hard thing to do, because when you can get into environments where it has a negative effect.
Yeah, for sure. It's the emulation thing, right? So, and that the environment that you surround yourself with accidentally, or in your case, forcefully, you're told to go. Yeah, you can drag it down.
Yeah.
And so then it's the thermometer thermostat. It's like, okay, I can either choose to like be in this and be like, okay, I'm just going to like soak in the environment. Or it's like, okay, well, I got to go, right? It's kind of what we were doing before. I got to do it anyway. Let's just light the freaking place up. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
It's harder to do that, right? It takes more energy. Yeah, but it's so amazing, like how uninspired people are, right? And kind of goes back to the same thing. Like we are past. If people are scared of like artificial intelligence and what kids don't know how to do today, they're going to be shocked 5 years from now of what is and what is not. So the purpose then of education, as I'm thinking through this, is like, okay, it's not about like the knowledge transfer.
Because they got a lot of that.
And the thing is like, and students are not dumb. Like, okay, am I going to listen to you, teacher, who's 50 years old? When I've got ChatGPT?
Right.
How in the world, teacher, do you know more than this?
Yeah.
You don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's happening. My guess is it's probably already started.
Yeah.
Like that struggle's already happened. Or like, well, I Googled it, and I mean, it's probably been around for a little while. Back in our day, I couldn't even have my T86 calculator, right? Because you could share answers. But I think the point then is okay, if the point is what then? If the purpose of the education isn't necessarily like knowledge transfer, and I think it's about like helping students become, because I think that's true in companies too. Like when I'm talking to CEOs, I'm like, listen, like the purpose of people working for you is, yes, there's a job to do, but especially if it's like an entry level position, then your role as a leader, as a person who cares about people, is to help them become. Like, who are they becoming when they're on your team? Whether it's football or whether it's a company or whether it's a classroom, right? Who are they becoming in that process? And that's up to you to set that, right? And to like give some inspiration to their life. I don't know.
No, you're right on track, man.
Off soapbox. Sorry.
No, it's a good soapbox. Like, it's tough to, if just right now, at least in this season, it feels like education, there's not a lot of excitement for it. I think there's a lot of fear behind it. And I don't think it's the transfer of knowledge part. It's the relationship management part. The classroom management, behavior management part.
Because we're not becoming.
That's good. What did you just say? You said something about like, it was along the lines of becoming. There's only so much that that like information can do, right? Like there has to be some practical way that you are. Like, I think when I say that, like when you ask me, like what is education to you? It's a transfer of knowledge. That's what it feels like when I go. That's all it is.
Right.
That doesn't, you know what I mean? And if you're teaching your class that way,
and I think,
and I don't want to go there, and I'm looking at the calendar like, mother, you know what I mean? Like, no.
Oh, this is how the 13-year-old feels when he has to go.
How many days? What? We can't do this in 2.
So
you're taking my whole week.
Yeah. And there's some valid pushback, right? Because of, and I think like in the classroom specifically, there has to be some radical paradigm shifts. Like in education as a whole, right? I'm really excited about what Jordan Peterson's doing with his, Peterson Academy and stuff like that. Cause I think it's a good way to like adapt, right? Because I think with this paradigm shift, I think if teachers don't adapt, like if they don't have that paradigm shift within themselves, within their classroom, man, like, because if kids aren't getting it from parents and other things in terms of like becoming and pushing, and it's like, right, it's about the becoming, like the doing the hard things, like, which is why I love coaches and I love sports, right? Because that's how you become. Like there's a big thing to that. Even when I was a youth pastor, I knew within like 5 seconds of meeting a kid if they played sports or not. Like it was wild. Like I could just be like, you played sports, you did not.
I wanted to ask you about that too. So when we're talking about the environment part, right? Like like the state of teachers and like our attitudes and how we look at conferences and like education. I heard, and I think you've told me this too, that when you were a youth pastor, you had quite the crowd coming. Yeah. So I guess
it's a tough crowd.
a tough crowd, but you're not just like, there has to be something more than just like having an event that gets the attention of a 13-year-old or 14-year-old. Like, what was it? How did you create that environment where you grew something that was great, and you walked away from that too, right? But we'll get into that some other, like another time. But like I want to know,
because East Helena, Montana, huge population center, and we had on average we would have right about 100 to 125 students that came to youth group on Wednesday nights.
That's whole grade level for us now.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Such a big school now. So we had the majority of like honestly, we had the majority of the middle school. And I still see lots of those students today that are adults now because of their own, like when I am around Helena, it's pretty wild. But like you're saying, like you really like think in parables. That was the thing that I found was the most effective method was we created experiences. So when people showed up, they didn't know what they were going to expect. And so there was times where like we built a zip line in the church, or times like we literally had a herd of sheep in the church with us. Or like I would tell, the story about Guatemala, my friend falling off the cliff.
Yeah.
And actually we just set up this whole thing where like I brought, fake plans and stuff and set up a tent, and I just told the story. For an hour and a half, it was a pin drop. 50, 13-year-olds. Because why? I think it's the same thing. Like they go to class and they're bored all the time. Like, how do you like provoke inspiration? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, and the feedback I would get from parents and students and stuff was like, man, you're a great storyteller. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm a good storyteller. But I think it was more of like, what do I want to transfer to these kids? Like, what do I want them to walk away with? I want them to walk away with, and it's funny because it's all, honestly, it's the same themes. It's like live an adventurous life. Like if you're bored and uninspired, like, dude, get up and do something. It's doing hard things. It's, how about you look out for people other than yourself? Because that's actually where greatness is found, right? Greatness is found in service. Right. So it's all these themes. And so then it's how do you transfer that to kids to where they actually care about it, right? And then you'd see like how they would step into that and become. And the crazy thing is the stuff that I do today with businesses and business teams and up and coming business leaders is literally the same stuff that I did with kids that were 13. Because I would challenge them like, what goals do you have? Who are you becoming? What are you going to become? Who are you going to be?
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered that question, but that was the thing that I saw over and over. And I built great relationships with the teachers and the administration of the schools at the time.
Nice.
Because there was a lot of the same kids, and a lot of them were knuckleheads. Especially the ones that came to our youth group. There was a lot of knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And some
Did
of them
you manage that well?
What's that?
Did you manage that well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or was there also like a culture where peers managed that well?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
Nice.
So the way that we developed that is we had that group, and then we also had this Sunday group that we called Exchange, and those became like I went after the kids that were tough, meaning right the disruptors, the ones that people were like the natural leaders, right? Yeah. People naturally gravitate towards them because they were the cool kids or they were the bad kids or whatever. And so those are the ones I'm like, okay, here's the thing, man. Like, I need your help.
Yeah. And
I appealed to a higher good with them. I was like, dude, I need your help. Why? What's going on? I was like, dude, you're an 8th grader. I got these punk 6th graders that think they're all that. Obviously, no physical, nothing like that.
Right.
But it was just like, hey, if they start like getting out of hand, can you just like help me out and just like tell them to quiet down? Because it's really disruptive.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, man, I got your back. I'm like,
nice.
Thank you. It's just things like that. And it's, again, it goes back to the stuff. It's a relationship. Yeah. And so developing the relationship and then calling them to something higher. I think especially with young men, this is the thing that I saw as I hired a lot of young men, is very few people, unless they're in sports or maybe the military, very few young men today have ever been met with a challenge. They've never had another older man like throw down a challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, here's a higher noble cause that you can aspire and you can rise up to be. Yeah. You choosing not to be, like, not because I think you're lazy, but because nobody's challenged you to do this. So here's the challenge. Are you going to step into it or not?
Yeah, men like that. Like I just hear you say that. I'm like,
yeah. And so, and if you're a 13 to 14-year-old kid and you don't have a dad at home or whatever, right? Like whatever life circumstance, and all of a sudden you have another man be like, hey dude, here's a challenge because I know you can do it. Yeah. And they're just like, yep, I guess I can. It sows belief and also calls you to a higher path than you're living, right? Back to the choice, right? I'm calling you to intentional action because I don't like if you just follow the default that you're on, right? And you just continue to hang out with the environment that you're in that might not be your fault. Yeah. That's not a good outcome for you. And I don't want you to have this accidental outcome. I want you to have intentional action to put your life on a better trajectory.